All right, we're back for another episode of Best Case Scenario. Today, I have a relatively new friend with me and a relatively old friend. That's not an age joke. That's how long we've been friends. Today, joining the podcast is Kendall Johnson, and you have already met Dakota. If you haven't met Dakota, go back and listen to episode number 8, where he is on solo, and you get to hear him jibber jabber about what he likes in life. So, welcome, fellas.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
thanks for having me. I just plan on third wheeling, so
it was a long 17-hour drive. Here.
17 hours.
About three and a half.
Okay.
He drives a Ford.
Did you make the drive today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, we brought my side by side. So had changed fuel pump earlier. Just random stuff.
You guys came in kind of dirty.
Oh yeah.
Already in the shop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we changed the fuel pump shop real quick. I'm kind of quiet in it.
Yeah, you hold that up there.
Yeah, we changed fuel pump in the shop real quick. We tried to wash our hands, clean up a little bit, change shirt, but.
So yeah, if you smell a little bit of gas, it's probably Dakota. I watched him do all the work. So
he's not talking about gasoline.
This room is flammable right now because you guys came in.
Anyway, so I had to break the collar that holds the fuel pump loose because Kendall ain't strong enough. Little fragile feller over there.
I didn't want to break it, man. I'm just trying to take it easy with it.
Yeah, it's plastic. I've never seen plastic on a fuel pump like that.
Did you film any of it?
No.
Just working.
No. Yeah, we didn't film any of it. I think Elena got a shot of it.
Yeah.
She thought she was going to be funny.
Yeah, that's not PG.
Mm-hmm.
What, you got ass crack in there or something?
No, just a comment that was on the shot.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Anyway.
It was definitely.
All right, so where did you drive from?
Norman, Oklahoma.
Norman, Oklahoma, and that's where you live?
Mm-hmm.
Have you always lived there?
Yep. I've always.
Born and raised?
Born in Midwest City, at Midwest City Hospital, but we live in Norman, so that's where I live. I still live with my dad, so.
Okay.
So.
How big is Norman?
It's pretty decent.
Isn't that where the college is?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's where OU is.
So it's pretty. Yeah, it is pretty decent then.
Oh yeah, it's definitely pretty big. Like, it's definitely pretty big. So, I mean, I went to 6A school. There's 2 high schools in Norman, so.
There's 2 of them?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I went to Norman North. There's Norman High, but you know.
Well, how was school for you?
It was good.
Good experience?
Good. Yeah. I wrestled. So from my 7th grade year till I was a senior, my 11th and 12th grade, my junior and senior year, I got hurt. I dislocated my left knee and tore my ACL, and then recovered, had surgery, went back and went to the same tournament in Arkansas, and I hurt my right knee.
Oh no!
Yeah, dislocated my right knee. So
was that the end of the wrestling career?
That was it. You know, some days you think you wish it could have went on farther, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. You think you could have if you would have stayed healthy?
Yeah. I definitely would have went. Actually, I probably would have went with my best friend to Kansas. He went to Wichita, Kansas.
Okay.
So
he wrestled up there.
Mm-hmm.
WSU, Wichita State.
I don't remember.
Somewhere up there.
Yeah, I just know it was in Wichita.
Interesting. How was your childhood in Norman?
Good. It was. I mean, you know, I grew up in a shop. You know, we had a thing where if it was sunny and 75, you know, you're always outside. You know, I didn't play a lot of video games. You know, I was always outside working on something or doing something outside. So I didn't play a lot of video games and sports, and I did a lot of sports. I did play football till I was a freshman, and then my freshman year, back to the bigger city in Norman. You know, my belief, if you don't have money, you ain't gonna play football. That's how I thought of it. But so I just went to wrestling 100%.
Oh, I got you.
Year round. So
you thought about that early. You thought about that college experience a little earlier.
And if you think about it this way, with football, you know, you're on a team, right? You're if the team messes up, you know, you lose the game, right? When you're wrestling, it's 1-on-1. So if you mess up, it was on you. You know, so if you win, you won.
But if you lost it, it's on you as well.
Yeah.
So did you like that individual aspect?
Oh yeah, for sure.
That it's like all on your shoulders, and you're not relying on the guy next to you.
No, it's for sure. If you mess up, it's on you.
Yeah.
So my dad was a wrestler, and he actually was in Sports Illustrated for OU. He had a full ride.
Oh damn!
So
that's awesome. So was he your coach?
No. He helped me out a lot on at home. We had a mat at home, stuff like that. So
you mentioned your dad a few times. Have you always been close?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Even to this day.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I work for my dad. So
nice. Okay. So a family business.
Oh yeah. We he has a dozer company. So.
Oh, so you're dozing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you were a kid, and you said you weren't inside very often. Are you out in the shop with him?
Oh, yeah.
And he's kind of showing you the ropes and everything?
Mm-hmm. See, when I was 13, I have a 1974 K5 Blazer. Okay. I built it when I was 13, and that's how it really just kicked off from there, building trucks and doing different things. So.
Were you working for him like in middle school and high school?
Just on the weekends, go help him, go move equipment or stuff like that.
Pocket money kind of thing, yeah. Yeah,
just a little bit here and there.
It's a nice opportunity that a lot of kids don't have. It's like my first job, I was a sophomore in high school, was at Walmart. It's just like no attachment. I don't give a shit about them. They don't give a shit about me. So it's cool that you had kind of like an in with someone you're close to that is family, that you probably enjoyed the work. You learned a lot, and you probably made, decent money for a 12-year-old or whatever.
But the experience, a lot of people don't get that experience, So, and that's what means a lot more to me, getting to hang out with my dad and just doing different things. And that's where it come in to start, into the off-road thing is through my dad. So.
Okay. Was he big into off-road, or is he?
Yeah, he was. He always had Jeeps when he was growing up. High school, he'd have Jeeps, and he'd always tell me all these stories about how he had Jeeps, and we'd always go out to, back then you could go out to one of the lakes, Draper Lake, and go out there and go off-road and stuff like that. So him and his buddies go out there and play.
But he didn't have any monsters like your Suburban, Get Twisted.
No.
He just had...
back then, like, something big back then was like a 39.5 Bogger.
Okay.
There was a couple people, they'd run around on some 2.5 tons, but 1 tons were the biggest thing back then, It wasn't ever no 2.5 ton, no 5 ton axle techs, that's all new generation stuff, I mean, there might be like every once in a while you'll see a truck on 2.5 tons that was from back then, but it was very rare.
But that was a monster back then.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And this is a noob question because 39.5, you're talking about tire size.
Yeah, tire size.
And then axles. I always wanted to ask you this, and I don't think I ever did. But like 1 ton, 2 ton, 5 ton.
Yeah.
What is the ton? What does that mean? Like if it's a 1 ton, is that a weight rating?
You probably know that question better than I do.
It's the factory weight rating. So a 1 ton axle would be an axle that originally came under a 1 ton pickup.
Right.
So a 2.5 ton, they call it a deuce and a half, a military truck, and its payload capacity is 2.5 tons. So 5 ton. An axle tech's fairly new. I think those are rated at 9 tons.
9 tons.
Yeah.
9 tons.
Yeah.
And then from there, it goes up. Then there's like, the cranes. A lot of people running crane axles nowadays is like 50 ton.
Because that's exactly what they are. They're made to move a crane, so they're just heavy. But
like at Rednecks, there's literal monster trucks there. So like, what are you putting on a 50 ton axle?
So
how much bigger can you get?
A 50 ton, that's a big axle. Like it's huge. I want to say it weighs like 3,000 pounds, over 3,000 pounds.
Yeah,
3,600 pounds.
Heavy
just axle. The axle.
And but once you get up there in a bigger tire size, like I think it's the 1200 series tires, that's like 42-inch wheel. So you got to have something that's going to handle all that. So
it's just leverage, The bigger axles will have bigger wheel bearings, and
they got a planetary.
Once your tire goes so high, the taller your tire is, the more leverage you got on that wheel bearing in the middle. So that's why you'll see like a lot of the guys that are running bigger tires on 2.5 tons or even 5 tons, they'll run what they call a hybrid setup, which is a planetary hub. So there's, instead of the gear reduction I mean, there is gear reductions, but instead of all the gear reduction being at the drop case or in the axle, the gear reduction, a lot of it is at the hub. So it decreases the amount of stress on the rest of the driveline, because the bigger your tire goes, the more stress you're adding to everything.
And that's going to be in your bigger axle ratings?
Right. So I think the axle techs are planetary hubs, aren't they?
They're planetary.
Yeah. So the axle techs have, and what it is there's a set of gears in the actual hub. So instead of just an axle coming out and that spinning the tire, the axle is spinning gears that are spinning a, what do they call it, a sun gear? I think is what it's called.
I believe
an outer
that's
sun
what it
gear.
is.
So there's a gear reduction in the actual hub itself. So, your axle itself might be spinning 3 times to 1 rotation of your tire. So it just reduces the amount of stress on the rest of the driveline.
Do you get more torque with that?
You get more torque, but you get less wheel speed.
Right.
So there's a trade-off there.
Which is what you want in a monster truck.
Oh yeah, for sure. You the less or the more gear reduction you have, the better off you are.
Okay.
For sure.
For bogging and
Oh
whatnot.
yeah. I mean, but there again, it can hurt you because, like I said, if you're running a 50-ton axle, most of the time, that truck that has a 50-ton axle with that big of a tire, yeah, they're going to hit the mud, but they're mostly probably built for the tug pad.
Just to go slow and power.
And it's just so heavy. Heavy,
So you can crawl through the mud, but you need at some point you do need some wheel spin.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you got to have. If you can't clean a tire out, then you're just you're not doing nothing.
Right.
Which is the problem I have with them big tires I put on the buggy. I don't have enough power to spin the tires fast enough to clean the mud out.
So do the rock crawling wheels actually do a little better in the mud?
Yeah, because I only got that little V6 in there. If I had enough motor to clean the tires out, they'd do better, but I don't have enough motor to clean the tires out.
You don't have to clean the tires out. They got no tread on them.
That's true too. That's true too. They're made to freaking be on a road grader.
About as hard as this wall over here.
Literally, I ripped the valve. I had it for like 6 months. I ripped one of the valve stems off, and the tires are tubed. Lost all of the air in the tire, and still drove it all the way back to the trailer.
Oh my god!
And it never DB'd or anything. That's how hard the tires are on that thing.
Did it look flat, or did it keep its shape?
No, it didn't. It looked the same as if it had air in it.
That's insane.
But the buggy don't weigh nothing. What's a road grader weigh? Them things are heavy.
20,000.
Yeah, and the buggy weighs like 6.
Yeah, and it's like stripped of doors and
right.
everything else.
Yeah. So it's definitely the wrong tire, but it's what it came with. So
when did you graduate high school?
2020. So right when the pandemic started.
Did you have any high school activities shut down from that?
Well, I mean,
May 2020, I guess, is probably when you graduated.
Well, we actually from February. I think it was January or February was our last. We didn't go back to school.
They just shut it down and said you're good.
I mean, if you were passing all your classes, you didn't have to really do much. So.
Wow, that's kind of cool, I guess. I mean, shitty, but 3 months.
It is what it is.
3-4 months early out of there, and then did you go to college?
Mm-mm.
No college. No. But you kind of planned on it though, with like wrestling.
Yeah, I was going to, but
just after.
Just stay back and work, and then actually do what I wanted to do. So.
Well, did you have a plan? So, like, hypothetically, you go wrestle, you get a scholarship or something. Did you have a plan of like what you wanted to study?
Not really.
You were just going to go wrestle.
I'm just going to go see what there is. I mean,
take some classes and see what was. Did you have any top picks?
No, I mean, I thought about like when I graduated, I wanted to go weld stuff like that, but there's never nothing I did.
Can you weld now?
Yeah.
I was going to say, it's not really one that you like. I mean, I'm sure if you go to school for welding, you are, top tier. But at the same time, it's such you were welding today. And
I'm not a very good welder. Let's change subject.
But you understand. You point and shoot and you hang out until you got a puddle.
I grew up kind of on a farm. So, we could make things stick together, but you didn't show it off to people, I
mean, at the end of the day, that's what you're looking for. Make stuff stick together and stay together.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then you graduate high school and then immediately jump on Dad's crew?
Yeah, basically. Well, yeah, Yeah, basically.
And it's just you and your dad, ain't it? The crew. It's just
Yeah,
you and your dad mostly.
we have someone that comes helps us on the weekends.
That's awesome though. I like the tight circle.
Mm-hmm.
Not a 100-man crew or something. Where
No, it's just keep it simple.
So then, how do you two know each other?
Funny story.
You kind of talked about it on yours.
Yeah. Let's hear your version.
Yeah, I kind of want to hear Kendall's version.
So it's late Wednesday night, and we got everything loaded up. We're headed down to Rednecks. We're gonna go stay in the parking lot, and we're driving down the road, and there's a guy half a mile in front of me, and he just slams on the brakes out of nowhere. That ain't what happened, but
kind of.
Him slamming on the brakes did not affect anything with me. But I seen the buggy, and I was like, hey, he's a YouTuber. I want to go say hi, maybe I can get on one of his videos. Well, now I'm stuck and on all of the videos.
You are stuck.
But I pulled in there and walked up there to the window and seen this big guy and then this stout guy. And I pointed at the guy in the driver's seat and I said, hey, you're slow motion. I said, I think I seen you on the YouTube channel. He said, yep, you sure did. I said, hey, if you get down here this weekend, you come across the black Suburban that says Get Twisted across it, come hang out and I'll give you a ride. And then ever since then, that's what happened. So
I wish you could see, like, when that conversation ended, I wish you could see me and him, because we were like, holy shit, he's got like a big rig and who knows who he knows, and turns out you're very well connected. I want to get to that later, but we were like so jazzed up, and then probably Thursday probably came around, and then just all eyes, where's Get Twisted, where's Kendall, where's that guy? And we were super psyched.
Thursday we get there and we're driving around. I had to leave and go back to Oklahoma and then come back, and because I forgot something that was very important.
Oh my God!
I had to go take it back, and I got back. We got in the Suburban, went and drove around, and then I look over to the left as we're going through the mud pits, and look over here to the left, and I see like two wet like this
over here.
I'm like, oh hey, there's them guys. Let's go over and I'll give them a ride. So.
Yeah, it was awesome, because that was your second time? No, it was my second time, I think. We had already filmed the first one because he saw it.
Yeah, that was your second time there. I think I'd went there twice before then. So it had been my fourth time there. Dude, I love that place. It's crazy to hear his version, though, because he's over here going, oh, this guy's a YouTuber. He's somebody. And I'm sitting here going, oh my gosh, somebody knows who I am. I'm nobody. And then I see a Suburban going, oh my gosh, dude, that thing's huge. He's somebody,
It's like, it almost, if you've never seen it, because I think a majority of the people, especially listening to this, they've seen like monster trucks and stuff, but to see one going down the road on a trailer, it's like almost mind boggling. Like, how is that even physically possible that this massive truck is on a dual axle trailer or something? It's just, it's kind of breaks your brain. And that's the fun part, if you ask me, about staying Wednesday night in the parking lot, is doing a couple laps and just seeing the biggest trucks you could almost imagine,
right?
Just up on trailers, like a caged animal. Just they want to go, and you hang out for the weekend, you get to see them.
Then you're sitting there in the parking lot, and you got someone come over and start talking to you about it, and you're like, well, man, I guess I can fire it up for you. Let you listen to it.
While we're here. So, I'm curious, like, how are you so well connected with Rednecks? Because you've gotten us behind-the-scenes events many times. You've introduced us to guys who was Kevin.
Yep.
Kevin Sutherland,
I think is what it was. Yeah.
And we got to ride with him.
Keith Sutherland. Sorry. I was like, I knew it started with a K. Wait, Keith Sutherland. And that truck is huge. Video doesn't do justice.
Well, massive, super nice guy. He was super welcoming. But I think that's because you said, hey, these guys want to ride, So, like, you've opened doors for us that I don't think we would have gotten to experience. So how'd you get so well connected with Rednecks?
So the very second event at Rednecks was in 2012. I want to think I was 2012. So I've been like
Holy shit.
14,
That's
13,
crazy.
9, 10, somewhere in there.
The second one.
The very second event, I went with my dad. And ever since then, it's like, you go out there and you see people and you're like, you just walk up and just like, hey, introduce yourself, And like, this is me, this is what I got, You mind if I come hang out with y'all? Like, I'd go drive around the mud pit with all the, back then Trucks Gone Wild, I don't know if you've heard of them.
Mm-hmm.
But they'd have some of the Trucks Gone Wild trucks out there, be like, hey, can I go hang out with y'all? Like, oh yeah, cool. Like, come on, let's go. We go sit out there on the islands and stuff. And, back then I had a Blazer, that 74 K5 Blazer, and then my dad had a 83, 84 K5. And they were both on 11.2 tractor tires, and which about 43 inches tall, so nothing too big. And you got these trucks that are on 2.5 tons, and you're just like, here I am, 13, 14 years old, like going cruising around with all these, big guys that go everywhere.
Was it 18 and up back then?
No. So I went to all the events except for maybe one, and then I want to say I was 16 or 16, and it turned 18. So I missed like 2 or 3 events then, then went to all the other events past that.
Did you try to get in, or were they like, no, you're...
I didn't want to try, because then it, like later on in life, hey, it might ruin something trying to go.
For sure. Sneak in or something. Yeah.
It just ain't worth it. Just, you just wait. I mean, there's always other events,
That's true. But it's crazy that you've seen the evolution of rednecks, because there's no way it started like how it is now.
No, it was back in back in 2012 when we would go, it was one mud pit.
The main mud pit?
There was one mud pit, and it was the one main mud pit. So, last September when we were there, when I was going back and forth in the mud pit right there, trying to figure out what was going on with my truck while I was cutting out, when I kept going forward and backwards, that was the only mud pit there. And it was not as big as it is now.
But it had to be like a quarter of the people that go.
No, yeah, no, it was packed.
It was still packed?
Oh, yeah.
Like as packed as it is now? Because I feel like every year it's got to have more people.
No, there was, I want to say there's 30 or 40,000 people that go now, but back then I guarantee you there's still 10, 15,000 people.
Okay.
Which for one pit is quite a bit.
That's a lot of people. Like, you'd go around the pit and like it's all people lined up 24/7. And the party never stopped.
So the party's always been a main theme.
Oh yeah,
because the party's awesome.
But back then, the mud was different. Like, I don't know what was different about it, but it was thicker. Like, it was thicker.
It's like tougher to get through?
It was way harder. If you didn't have tractor tires, you weren't going anywhere.
Wow.
That's like how bad it was.
So then what was the appeal? Because if there's one, I guess the one main mud pit, because you can cruise around and that's fun.
I mean, there were still always the trails.
Yeah.
There was the creek, and then there's other stuff like that, but there wasn't. Back then, they used to have a big rock course and stuff like that. So,
and not anymore.
It's still there, but they don't ever do nothing on it.
Did they do events back then?
Yeah, it was an event. They had a instead of a bounty hole. I don't know if it was like a freestyle deal.
Okay.
So they still had a freestyle, but it was a little different.
Yeah, like Shirley Barbie wasn't there for a while.
Or
like Tug of War. Like
Tug of War wasn't.
Okay.
I don't remember when it became a big thing, but like I said, the freestyle was the main thing back then, I believe. And there was only a few trucks that were like big name trucks back then. There was Hulk. That was a truck that's not around anymore. It was a big hitter back then that drew the freestyle stuff. So.
And I'm sure they had like the food trucks and all that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that's always been.
They still had concerts and stuff like that.
So it was
they had some really good concerts back then too.
It was pretty well planned since the beginning, is what it sounds like. If you went to the second one ever, and that's what you're remembering, it sounds like they had a plan all along, and it's only grown.
I know Derek, the one that owns it, he was not expecting that many people to show up when it first opened. for sure. Not expecting that many people.
It's so funny because like the first time we went out there, it was your second or third time or whatever it was, and
there was no parking lot. You didn't have to go to Munster. You would just go straight to the gate.
I mean, I guess that's part of the humor is like we camp in the parking lot. Like, okay, and it's just because there's so many people. Like they have to. You can't just do it all at the gate. You're going to be in gridlock. You're already in gridlock for a while. If they were doing ticket sales at the gate or verifying tickets, like no way, it would take all day. Like it kind of already does. So I mean, but we're riding through St. Joe. Like, are we lost? Like, what is like?
It's like we're in this little bitty town.
Yeah,
like, where are we at?
There's no way this is right. Like, yeah. And then we go into this parking lot. Oh, and then the next day we wake up at the ass crack of dawn,
and there's so many people you can't get out of the parking lot.
Yeah,
parking lot is packed.
Well, and you think you wake up early for the line, and 100 people woke up earlier than you did.
So when we get up, like we're always up at 3:50 something and in line. So, and I think last September we just stayed up there. We went up there at like when we got there.
Yeah, like
and got in line
10 p.m. or something.
Oh no, we was there a little late. We had some technical difficulties on the way there.
I mean, even midnight or something though. You just kind of like post up.
It's like I think I called y'all. I was like, "Hey, where y'all at?" I was like, "We're up here somewhere sleeping." No, y'all was already there. Y'all was already there asleep.
Yeah, because we've always bunked on the trailer, or you got the hammock.
Yeah. We it's a 6-hour drive. We leave about 7 a.m. Somehow always make it there after dark. I don't know. The math doesn't work out, but that's how it works.
Well,
wait, I got one even better. It's literally maybe 3 hours from my house, but it took me 7 hours to get there in September. Yes, I had very, very.
His truck caught fire.
My 1-ton Ford caught on fire on the way there.
Your hauler caught fire.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Man.
Mm-hmm. I'm sitting there driving down the highway, and I'm like, I was like, dang, I think I see sparks. I'm like, so I pull over, get out, go back there and check all the chains, make sure
sparks
I'm not
behind you.
Make sure I'm not dragging a chain. And I get out and I get back in the truck, take off again, and we get going a little bit more, and then I can like start smelling it, and I seen it come out from underneath the truck. Oh yeah, we pull over there and open the hood, and it's like big old flames.
What happened?
There was a rat nest underneath the turbo.
Oh my god!
So all them leaves that had been soaking in probably a little bit of oil, a little diesel, it finally caught on fire, and yeah.
So it didn't burn any like essential wires or anything.
No, it didn't.
Hoses.
It didn't burn anything. I mean, it had it had a couple little things that burned, but it wasn't nothing important, So
did you panic at all? I mean, if I see
fire
under the hood,
definitely
I'm
panicked.
panicking.
Like, I jumped out of the truck, lost my shoes when I got out of the truck, and I ran right out of them. So then I opened the hood and it's on fire. So then I go back in the truck, and my girlfriend had her cup, it had wine in it, and I went and took her wine and dumped it right on top of it.
Oh my god.
And then I'm sitting there yelling at her like, hey, like grab some water, like find some water. It's still on fire. Threw a couple Twisted Teas on it. Oh yeah.
Anything you could grab.
Yeah, I didn't care. So,
that was the 7-hour trip?
Oh yeah.
So then you pulled over for the fire, and then did it just take a while to get back on the road?
No, after it caught on fire and everything, I went up to that gas station that was coming up in Davis and pulled in there and let my truck cool off, and then took a water hose and shoved down underneath the turbo and pushed all that stuff out. Well, it took a while because I had let my truck cool off. So
quite a bit of rat's nest.
Oh yeah,
come on out of there.
All kinds of stuff come out of there.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was.
Do you only use it as like a hauler? Like, was it parked for a while?
That's my daily driver. So
where'd these rats come from?
Okay, so
the truck
did sit. It did sit for a while because I was waiting on some stuff. So it did wait. It did sit for a while.
Okay.
But we had already went to Rednecks once to take the camper down there and all this other stuff. But no, it happens when you're pulling a 40-foot gooseneck with a side by side.
You took that same truck to go drop off the camper and everything.
They had no problems. Yeah, it was crazy.
That's wild. Yeah, that's something I wish we could do. I think we're just too far. Like, to do the early camping and everything. It's just tough where we're coming from.
So I try to get y'all's campsites, but y'all don't like camping by me anymore. So
it's a 24/7 party. There is no shutting
Kendall's
down.
campsite is 24/7 party. Yeah, 100%.
It's not a bad thing. You just got to be like mentally prepared for 3 hard days, and somehow you survive. I don't know how.
Well, we usually go down. We sometimes we go in, try to get in on Wednesday, but usually it's not such a big deal. But
Is your spot like basically reserved for you, or do you have to plant your trailer?
no, I
there
have
every
to.
time?
I still have to get it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, no one ever gets it because it's not on the map.
Oh, it's not even like an option.
No, not really.
That's awesome.
They call it Camp Big Booty.
It seems like everybody in that corner kind of is the same people every time.
Oh, yeah. The people across the street from us, they actually, I think, are kind of workers there or something.
Yeah.
Is that
So
Camp Fuck Yeah?
yes,
That's they're workers?
I don't know if some.
I
I think some of them
I don't
are
think
workers.
that one is, but I think he only lives an hour away.
Is it?
Yeah, he only lives like an hour away.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know. They always keep their stuff there year round. So
Like they don't haul it out?
no,
No, that one camper. I think that one camper, if you tried to move it, would fall apart.
There's a couple of them that stay there.
That's awesome. I mean, do you have to be in tight with Derek on that, or is it just reputation? Or
No, I mean, no, not really. I mean, we go down there and you don't really ever get to see. You don't ever talk to Derek.
Mm-hmm. Is he
Which sucks.
there?
He's a cool guy. Yeah, he's always working.
Always working it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Derek's one of the coolest, greatest guys you'll ever meet.
His interview, did we watch that on YouTube? He did like a special or something.
No, yeah, that was a long time ago.
It was a long
but
time
they
ago.
post it every year for people
Yeah.
to watch.
And you could just tell he's like a genuine, good dude.
Well, because like Redneck started from that video or whatever, it started as kind of like a save the farm kind of deal, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, the land that came up for sale, it was his grandpa's land, and then they bought it. So
And they needed to make some money off of it or something.
probably.
And now
I mean, that's a good way to do it.
They make
sure.
a shitload.
But yeah, I think it turned into a lot more than it was originally intended to be, which is awesome.
Well, so and then apparently like Florida has its own kind of rednecks, or it's not called rednecks, but it's like a mud event. Have you heard of anything about that?
There's a couple of them actually. There's Florida has what is the name of the Iron Horse? That's one of them. That's in
That's
Florida.
an event.
That's an event. That's a Iron Horse Mud Park. And then there's a couple more, but I ain't really paying much attention to them.
The mud truck scene's huge in
Florida.
Yeah.
Florida and Louisiana and Texas, the mud truck scene's huge.
Oh, and Louisiana.
Oh yeah, Louisiana's got one of the biggest events too.
Nothing but swamp.
It's all it's big.
Good spot to
Louisiana,
do it for sure.
Louisiana Mud Fest.
And have you ever been to that one?
No.
I would love to see how they compare.
We were debating on going there or to this other one up in Missouri called Bricks, but I think we're going to go to Bricks.
In Missouri,
Yeah, it's in Missouri.
I was looking it up. Louisiana Mud Fest is 8.5 hours for us, and it's like 7.5 for him.
Yeah. And that Bricks, the way Shane, that truck said "Party with a Bucket Head" on the back of it.
Yeah.
Shane, he's cool. I talked to him today, and he said it's like a small rednecks. He said it's like
small
a
rednecks.
It's in
Well,
Poplar
I say
Bluff.
small, but it's still pretty big.
That's why I want to know the comparison, because rednecks blew my effing mind when I went. Like I didn't know something like that could exist, and then I hear Florida does it too, and then of course I'm sure Florida's like we do it better, and Texas is obviously very pro Texas, and everything's bigger in Texas, and Texas knows how to mud bog or whatever. So I'd love to hit them all and just compare them, because I just don't see anything touching rednecks. And maybe I'm biased at this point.
Man, but you gotta think rednecks. There's people coming from all over the country, all over the world, coming for rednecks.
Yeah, you weren't there. There was a guy from Canada last time, and then the dude from Baltimore or Maryland blew your motor.
The time that I don't think you weren't there, so it would have been last March.
Okay.
When it rained.
Mm-hmm.
So there was how many trucks from Canada that were down there?
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of
big trucks. Big
trucks.
Like there was a 6-door Dodge 12 valve that was down there. It was cool.
Hauled from Canada.
Oh yeah, from Canada. Then there was
there's several rigs from Michigan.
There was 2 Chevrolets down there, 2 Duramaxes down there that were from Canada too. One of them blew up Dropbox in the Bounty Hill.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I didn't know what come apart.
It did, and when it did, it came apart. So
Yeah, literally different countries coming to this event. And I think it's only growing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I don't think it's slowing down. And we talked about how they do it biannually. I don't know if that's the right, twice a year. And it's like, it just seems like the perfect time in between.
Because if you do an event like that where you got 30, 40,000 people, you can only do it twice a year. I mean, because then you do it more than twice a year, people are going to get burned out on it.
I think for sure.
I mean, that's just one of them things. It's like, twice a year is like perfect. Like fall, spring.
I expend so much energy in a good way. I'm so hyped before, and I expend so much energy in a good way that when it's over, like we're both just like, can we just go home? Like it takes everything out of us in the best way.
And we'll stay up, 5 o'clock in the morning, but you're always the first one up with a coffee.
Dude, Casey's coffee is what gets me through 100%. I think I'd say at the end of every event, it's like, it was a blast. I'm ready to go home.
Every time. And it's true. Like, it's so like, not only is the spacing of it, but the duration to where it kind of starts on Wednesday if you go camp in the parking lot. So that's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Almost 5 days that you're committing to this event. And honestly, I think every second's been just unbelievable. It's an awesome event. We talked a lot about it when you were on last time.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
But if you haven't been, you need to go. So it's for sure.
Dude, I tell
at
all
least
my friends,
a once in a lifetime thing to go do.
Yeah.
I got a question for Kendall, because I've seen it and I've heard about it, but I'm just curious, at what age? You said you had like an international truck too, right?
Yeah, I had so it would have been 3 years ago. I had bought a truck, and it was a 1949 International, had a 6-inch chop on the cab, and it was a clean. The guy that built it did a good job, but there were some things like that I went over and redid. Redid the axles, redid some of the subframe, and built it into a really good bounty hole truck, and it was a good truck. Had a big block Ford in it, a C6 transmission, and it was on the 23 ones that was on the Suburban was what was underneath that truck. It was on 2.5 tons. So
a big ass truck.
It was pretty good size. It was for sure. I think it was, I want to say right at 11 foot. So
is that pushing it for tire size on a 2.5 ton?
Yeah, but when you have a truck that only weighs 6,000 pounds, it's okay.
Did you ever break an axle?
If it was going to break, it would have broke. Me and Clayton went to a deal down in Prague, Oklahoma, and we ran a bounty hole, and it took us forever to climb out of this bounty hole. And we was on this wall just bouncing like this, and it would not climb out of it. And if it was going to break something, it would have broke, and it never did.
Dang.
So
that's awesome.
I did finally break. It blew a chunk up.
Blew the
center chunk up, but that ain't nothing. I mean.
So 23.1, I mean, we're talking 23.1 is the width.
Yeah.
So we're talking, 67?
No. I think they measure out to 62.
62 inches tall?
Tall.
Yeah. So when he says 23.1, 26, that's the tire size, like as it's written on the tire. But 23.1 is how wide it is. The 26 is the wheel. But the height, it measures out about 62 inches.
So 62.
About 2 feet wide and 62 inches tall.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild.
It was a fun truck. It's actually, the truck's still around, but now it's an actual mega truck. They jump it, and it's got a blower motor in it now.
Oof.
So
you've seen it. It doesn't have a paint job. It's just rust colored, ain't it?
It's still rust colored.
Yeah.
This is the international.
It's an old 50s model international.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Might recognize it if I saw it.
Yeah. If I showed you a video, you'd say, yeah, I've seen it.
So I only know you from Rednecks. Would you consider like the big truck? It's almost underground world. Is that kind of your world? Like, what's your world? You could say dozer. Your work.
I mean, the off-road thing is like,
that's like where you thrive.
Yeah,
that's where you get off. Big trucks, off-road, wrenching,
building stuff. Man, It's fun to me, you know.
Because this is where I go to for my mechanic advice. He helped me fix my truck and everything. And then I've heard him tell stories about you. And then, of course, like the transmission video. It's dirty. It's late. Drinking's going on. And you rebuild an entire transmission.
It would have been done a lot faster, but there was a lot of moonshine involved that night. So it took us a little bit longer to put it back together because I kind of lost my train of thought.
It's funny because I do, I don't know, 60%, 70% of his editing. And I think that video is probably my favorite slow motion video of all time, like, or so far, I should say.
Yeah.
It's a great edit. You did a great job. And then the content is so good.
I just, you know, and I really, after it broke, I pulled over there and I sat there and I was like, you know what, just forget it. You know, I'm going to leave it here. Just let it sit here all weekend. We'll load it up Sunday morning. And I called my dad. He's like, no, just come home and get a case. Just come home and get a transmission case. I'm like, yeah, man, I really. He said, it's Thursday. Come home, get your button truck, and come home and get a transmission case and just rebuild it. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, if it breaks on Saturday, that's a for sure take.
So then we're sitting there, we're in a back 40 pit, and I'm like, I don't really want to run home. Eli, I got a job for you. Here's the keys to Elena's car. Here's the address. Go pick up 2 transmission cases. They're sitting there waiting on you. He said, okay, and he took off.
Dude, the amount of people that come together to make that work. I mean, Kendall did a lot of the work part of it, but that's the crazy thing to me about the off-road community is the amount of people that are just willing to jump in if you need help.
Well, okay, there's 2 great segues there. I'm going to hit that one first. The off-road community. My main experience is rednecks, to where, like you said, go say hi. Go say, this is my name. This is where I'm in. Can I check out your ride? You know, just start small, get to know people.
You mind if I go ride around with you?
So many of them are so receptive. If you're cool, obviously. If you're a dickhead, then they're going to tell you to take a hike. But so we've talked about it. Rednecks has kind of a high price point, and it filters out a lot of the shitheads. If you are at Rednecks, that means you want to be there because it's not free. It's not, and you know, dare say it's not cheap, especially if you're in a rig or something, or plan to go mud and you bought a whole Jeep just to go, you know, kind of thing.
It's definitely appropriately named. Rednecks with Paychecks.
It's appropriately named, and it's so, I just love the vibe there because you can talk to anybody. Now, is that, like you've been to, you guys did Soggy Bottoms. You went to, what's that place in
Oklahoma? I go to Disney quite a bit. I've been up to Ray's Rocks in Kansas City. I haven't been that many places, but yeah, it does seem to be. I mean, I broke my buggy several times at Disney, and some guy let me borrow a ratchet strap to hold my suspension together to take it back to the truck. I was like, dude, as soon as I get it back on the trailer, I'll bring your strap back. And I remember I went back, and he just gave me the strap, didn't know me, you know. I could have stole the strap, but he didn't know. I remember I jumped in my pickup truck and went back to where he said he was going to be and said, here's your strap. And he just looked at me like, I figured that strap was gone. But he still let me use it, even knowing there was a possibility I wouldn't bring it back. But, like, that's how the community is, so I want to keep going, you know. Here's your strap back. You let me borrow it. But, like, I've been stuck. People are just willing to, hey, you know, I'll winch you out. I mean, there's outliers in every group, but, like, the off-road community as a whole just seems to be very receptive to helping you.
I agree.
You second that?
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's Rednecks or
it don't matter. I mean, like, place. So we was at Crossbar, and Dakota made me blow a tire out on my Jeep.
Way to go.
I said, hey, watch where I'm going, and then shh. And then we both looked at each other like, you know what that was.
He didn't tell you what time it was, or also how much, you know, adult beverages that were consumed at that point. Sure. I'm not a very good spotter, so just heads up if anybody has me ride with them.
And it was a horrible spot, too, because we went up this trail, and I'm like, man, I think we should just go the other way and go around. So we got to back up, and when it literally backed up, it said, shh. And I was like, oh.
Just ripped the sidewall out.
Oh. So I had to walk up and over this mountain to go find someone, and I found someone, and it was really cool. He said, yeah. He said, yeah. I said, hey, you mind come helping me? He's like, yeah, no problem. Like, here, I got an impact. I got tools. You know, we'll help you get it done.
It's definitely given me a whole new perspective on it's okay if you drive a junker. Like, you don't have to have this biggest, baddest rig. If you're there and enjoying yourself, everybody else is enjoying themselves too. So, like, I do love the community aspect, and it is actually very reassuring to hear both of you say that.
It don't matter. It don't matter what you drive.
Yeah.
I mean, my girlfriend, you know, she's got a Jeep Cherokee, and it has been through it. Let me tell you, she rolled it over at Rednecks. I rolled it over 3 weeks ago in my pond. Like, it's one of them things, like, it's a great trail rig. Who cares what happens to it? You know, just like, we'd go ride any trail we want. We went to Crossbar and went down some of the hardest stuff there, and she drove it behind me, and we were in this trail that should not have taken us 7 hours to be in, but we was in there for 7 hours trying to get through some
Holy
stuff that
shit.
we was not supposed to be there.
That's a full day. 7 hours.
For sure. Yeah, it took us forever.
It's crazy what a Jeep Cherokee will hold up to. You go down to Disney and you just see them things just bouncing off the limiter, climbing hills and stuff. I mean, they will hold up to some
They
abuse.
definitely knew what they were doing when they built the 4.0 straight six.
Yeah, that's a stout motor.
And the the 4-cylinder. It is they call it a screaming demon. That is for sure.
It's a good name or nickname.
But
does it have a roll cage on it or anything?
no.
You just rolled it and flipped it back over and good to go.
Keep going.
Damn, that's impressive.
Buried it to the hood at Soggy.
Yeah,
couple weeks ago.
She did. She
They
did.
both did. It happened
It was
twice.
Oh, wait. Yeah,
It
you're
happened
right. You're
twice.
right. He was with me one time. I said, Dakota, you going to sit in the front? And there was another guy.
There's no window.
There's no
You
windshield
know?
in it, nothing. And he's like, and there's another guy with us. He's like, here, let me get the door for you. And he opens the door for the Howard, the other guy that was with us.
Let him
And
in
he
the
gets
front.
he gets in the back seat. And, yeah, we was covered head to toe. And he's
Both
back
the
there.
people in the front were just covered in mud. Just covered in mud.
Well, I got a chewing for that too. She was mad because we had only been there. It was Friday,
Oh,
and she was
no.
mad. She hadn't got to drive yet or nothing. She was mad.
Yeah, I encouraged her to get stuck. So we got over to that hole, and you were up in front of us, and you'd went around it. And she's like, "Is that bad?" I said, "Nah, you got this."
And she just stands on it like, and just goes right off in this, and it's sitting there like this,
Oh,
back tire off the ground and everything,
oh my God.
and it's over the hood, and I'm like, oh my gosh! And Clayton pulled her out, and I went over there, pulled the air breather off of it, and it fired right up.
Whoa.
Yeah, you can't kill them things.
That's badass.
So, yeah, there it's something to just go tear up. You know,
Mhm.
I won't ever diss on anyone's rig because, you know, there's people out there that don't have money, you
Right.
know, that can't build something like what we have.
Right.
Like, hey, you got a Jeep Cherokee or a Jeep Wrangler or a Toyota hardbody. I mean, whatever you got, OBS Chevrolet. I mean, that's what you got. I mean, I respect it. You're down here bogging with us.
Right. Do you find, you don't have to name names, obviously, but, like, do you find the higher, say, price point of the rig, is there assholes on the top realm that are a little bit grandstanding because they have a, $500,000 rig or something and you're
Yes.
driving a beater?
There
So there is that out there.
There is. But it really, I mean, most of the people aren't, but there is. You'll find every once in a while, you'll find someone that's just like, hey, King Dingling over here because I got a $100,000 rig and you got a $30,000 rig or a $10,000 rig.
That's how I was, when I got the buggy.
Around here.
I got 48-inch tall tires. This thing's huge in Kansas.
And then he met me.
I go
Yeah.
down to Texas.
Literally.
I'm like, listen, I'm going to teach these Texas boys how it's done. Oh, never mind. Oh, wow. Them things are literally bigger than monster trucks.
But
Man, my side-by-side's bigger than his buggy. What are you talking
Well, the
about?
best
it's
thing-
parked next to my buggy right now. It really is.
The best thing about the buggy is that people look at it and they don't know what they're looking at.
Yeah.
And that's the talking point of, like,
Yeah.
what is this,
I won't diss on the buggy too. It's done some crazy stuff too.
Well, he's
Like-
the crazy part of that.
We were at Crossbar trying to go up this. They call it Dead Man Slide.
it's scared the crap out of me.
Sounds horrifying.
Yeah.
And the name.
It's appropriately named too.
You know, you see these side by sides that go up it and stuff, and you got a buggy over here on 2.5 tons and tractor tires. I said, "Come on, I think you can do it." And I'm sitting there in front filming, and he goes up, and the spring broke off of the axle, and it just raised straight up, and the look on his face was priceless.
That didn't make the final cut, by the way.
Just
It did
what,
not.
pure shock or something?
I deleted that. It doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, I thought I was done. I thought this thing's going over. I thought I was going to flip
You thought
over.
you were
I
done.
thought I was flipping over backwards, yeah.
Oh, my God.
It got around pretty
no,
good, though.
No, you really got to ask Dakota about the ride I gave him in a Can-Am Commander one time.
You know how you're always like, always be rolling?
Mhm.
That was one of those times. He was just like, get in, let's go. And this thing's just looked stock to me. Didn't sit very high
It's
off the ground.
stock
He's
height.
he's like, let's go for a ride. I'm like, cool. I just jumped in. I thought we were going to put down. And
I said, put your seatbelt on.
then I put my seatbelt on, and I'm like, all right, cool.
I was sitting there holding
And
the
next thing
brake.
we know, this thing just takes off. And I don't know how fast we were going, but it was pretty fast for off-road. We were probably going interstate speeds, Just ripping up the trails, whatever. I'm holding on. It's got one of them grab bars, right? I'm holding on for dear life. And we come rolling into camp, and he slides it sideways. Well, there's a little more weight on the passenger side than there is the driver's side. And that's the side he slid to. And we go up, and it just kind of hovers there for a minute. Probably not a whole minute, and then it just finally slams down. And I looked over at Autumn because her and Lena were standing over there, and I was like, tell me you got that on video. We didn't get none of it on video.
Oh, it's painful.
Oh, man. That
Always be
thing
rolling,
rips.
dude.
Always be
That
wrong.
Always
thing
be rolling.
rips. Yeah.
How do you like being on camera and on a YouTube channel at this point?
At first, it's like at first you just got to kind of think of it as like there's not a camera there. But at first, you're kind of a little bit nervous about it, like I don't want to mess up. Like I don't want to say something I'm not going to. But it's really not bad.
I think that's a great way to think about it. Like there's just no camera here.
I mean, it's just like me and Dakota's talking or me and you's talking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he asked me a question or you asked me a question or we're just partying or hanging out. I mean,
and I'm sure you've seen it, like probably your development on camera to where if you act like there's not a camera there, man, when that gets on screen, it just feels so much more authentic and organic, and it just like it reads so much better to the audience versus like trying to perform something
it's like,
on camera.
what?
Just like, no, just what happened? Oh, we were hauling ass and this, it's like, if you're just like straight up with it.
I was hauling ass and this is what happened.
It's not very engaging, but if you just there is no camera, just be, and it reads a lot better. This guy's pretty natural. I always give him props on it.
I've definitely gotten a little better. I am definitely better on camera than I am of driving Get Twisted. I only got to do that once.
Yeah.
I don't think I get to do it ever again.
Ask him what happened.
Lost your privilege?
So, Kendall, explain the difference between your transmission, your shifter, and my buggy.
Mine's way better than his.
And then he'll tell you the story.
So it was Wednesday night, we're at Rednecks, and we're in the back 40, the first year the back 40 came back. So it would have been last March.
Yeah.
We're back there. Well, something happened. I think the water pump went out on the Suburban. So it got hot, right? So I went over there, opened the radiator cap. Well, it blew stuff all over me, and it burnt the crap out of me.
His temp gauge was pegged out.
Brand
260
and I was
degrees.
so mad because I think that's my brand new motor. Like
Just
this
built
is
it.
that one I just had, that LS I had just built.
Okay.
And I was upset. So we let it cool off. Well, while I let it cool off, I'm over there having a couple of adult beverages, and we get it pulled over there, put water in it. Hey, we'll get back to camp. Well, I'm standing there talking to everyone, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, hey, let's just go. It'll make it back to camp. We'll make it. Well, I think Aries was in my Defender, and Robert Jones, which is another good buddy of ours, he's like, no, just leave it here. Just leave it here. It'll be fine back here.
He didn't want.
Well, you got to think, I got a lot of money in stereo equipment. That thing. I am not going to leave it somewhere
Those things
that I can't see it.
Yeah.
Especially when you got that many people there. So I'm like, no, it's good. I fired it up. I'm sitting there watching the tent. Oh, it's not even moving. Let's go. Load up. Let's go. So we get going back, and we didn't make it, I don't know, half a mile.
We didn't make it very far.
And it starts heating up again when I turn it off. And I'm sitting there, and man, I started getting a headache. I felt like crap. So I went and took a nap in the front seat.
He's burnt, by the way, as well. Like
literally
burnt. Like, anyway.
And I turned the flashers on so he wouldn't get hit. And I got in the back seat while they went and got water. And I think Eli was putting water, or no, it was Aries. Aries was putting water in it. Well, they put water in. I'm like, no, just Dakota, you drive. I'm back here sleeping.
Yeah.
Well, we're driving, and I think first, second, and then we're just driving. And then all of a sudden it slams down in the first, and I ended up in the floor.
Oh, no.
And I looked at Dakota and said, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. It's a little different than mine. I'm like, no, it's okay. It's no big deal. It's like my motor just hit 7,000 RPM, but no big deal.
It was like 6,300.
Trying to keep it cool.
Yeah. And then we got to go down this big old gigantic hill. You remember that? And Lena's standing there on the step, and I was hanging on to her.
Yeah.
But we made it back to camp. I think it only overheated twice or 3 times.
Yeah. No power steering at the time, by the way, because he kept eating pumps up.
How do you turn them wheels?
Look at him. That's how.
Yeah, crank it. I mean, that's got to be.
I got power steering now. That's the old. That's the old.
Yeah.
All right. So you went from old to new on the motor.
So
what was that transition?
Well, are you talking about the motor now that we're building?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you doing a new one?
I'm building another motor right now.
Okay. So you had something in it. You had a 5.3 in it.
It had a 5.3.
Okay.
It was built, and I mean it had big cam. You know, and it did great. Happy with it. You know, it was my first LS I ever built. You know, did great. I sold it to Clayton. One of my other buddies got that black Tahoe.
Okay.
On boggers. So it's in that truck now, and it's much better for that truck because an LS has high end, you know, once you get up there in 5,000, 6,000 RPM, that's when you're making power.
Yeah.
You
Like
know,
when
LSs don't. Yeah.
Poor truck.
LSs don't make torque.
Okay.
So we went to Soggy after I put the 28L, the big tires on, and I ran the bounty hole, and it would not spin the tires. It was barely spinning them, like not even enough to do anything. So we got pulled out, went and drove around. It does great when you're in a high RPM. It'd do great. Next day, I called Dakota. I said, hey, I'm building the big block. Well, a couple days later, I'm building a LB7 Duramax that makes 600 horse and 1,200 foot-pounds of torque.
Oh, my God.
So
that's what's about to go in?
That's what's going to be in there before Rednecks.
There's nothing sitting in there right now. He already pulled the motor out.
He already pulled the old one out.
Oh, yeah. No, there's nothing in there. It's just...
He's so ambitious.
He is. And so is this a race against time, or do you have plenty of time before Rednecks?
I think we'll have enough time. But now I have to build this motor and a new transmission.
The transmission to handle the motor?
To handle the torque and the power. Okay. The power is not so much. The torque.
He's got to build the motor too. The motor's not
the
built.
motor. No, the motor's a bare block sitting in my shop right now.
Oh my God!
And we're 2 months, month and a half.
March?
Clayton said the other day was 49 days, I think. So we're at like 45.
It's like middle of March,
days.
I think.
Yeah.
So
It's actually
March 13th.
Yeah, it's towards the beginning this time.
March 13th?
Because
13th of March.
Yeah, because for the first time it's not the same weekend as BMR, so I'm going to BMR too.
Oh, nice.
Man, who cares about that rock stuff?
Oh, Kendall's going. He just don't know it yet. But anyway, back to your motor.
It'll be done. It's different. You know, I've only ever seen one other Suburban with a Duramax in it. So, and he will actually, I believe, be at Rednecks in March. So, it ought to be pretty cool.
Is that something where you got to like fab your own motor mounts and like rework the engine bay almost?
Most of it all fits.
Okay.
Like, except I had solid mounts on my old motor, so now I got to make new mounts, which ain't no big deal. So just 4 bolts.
So tons of fabrication work. Is that something that you just learned through the years?
Yeah.
Because I feel
basically.
like that's like a, I don't know, it's a big one to be able to fab up parts that you need or make things fit that don't want to fit.
Yeah, you can just fab them up, or most time you can find them, or someone's got something somewhere. You know?
Yeah. You're very
or someone's done it.
You're very casual about it, but it's like for somebody who can't do that, like that's impressive to say the least. Because you gotta know your shit. Because it's gotta work too. You know, it not only does it have to work, it has to perform. You know, it's gotta
last.
It's gotta last. You go to, or you've been doing events. I don't know if you've always been doing events, but definitely lately you're in 75% of the events with big trucks. So it's got to also perform. That's a lot to do to accomplish.
It's definitely something that takes time, but once you get it figured out, it ain't nothing.
Interesting.
It is something. He just won't say it.
That's why he's so casual about it.
Yeah, most normal people just take a gas engine and and diesel swap it with a different transmission and custom mounts. And also, this is different than the old setup, so I'm going to have to also make a custom drive shaft. And it's like another Tuesday afternoon.
That's something I got to put on my list.
He's like, oh yeah, drive shaft,
intermediate shaft.
Mm-hmm.
We have to cut her down just a smidgen.
So past few rednecks, you've almost had like a somewhat different rig every time. Swapping motors, swapping transmissions.
Something's always new.
He's never satisfied.
But this one should, big ass diesel should be just fine.
It ought to be something for sure.
The real question, are you going to put a hood stack in it?
Floor stack. Yeah, it's going to have a hood stack.
You got to have a hood stack.
It's going to have a hood stack.
Is that pipes coming straight from the hood?
It'll have one
pipe coming straight from
turbo.
the hood? Oh, okay.
Straight up.
Okay.
It'll be on the right side.
Nice.
So I haven't decided if I want to do like a nice chrome one or if I want to do.
No, you don't want it to look good.
Maybe I'll come steal the top off of your stack on your semi.
No, you don't want it to look that good.
Why?
You just don't.
Is it because I built it? Is that why?
No, because it's going to get covered in black smoke.
I feel bad for whoever has to sit on the passenger side of my stuff now.
Just getting blasted.
Windows staying up.
Shit, we were on...
Oh, y'all going to be on the roof this year?
Say, we were on the roof. Last year we were on the roof, on the hood.
You going to sit on the windshield like you were last year? Telling me where to go?
By the way...
Hey, just don't grab that stack. It's going to be hot.
That windshield is very durable.
What do you mean it's got a hole the size of a...
It's been through some stuff.
That's got to go on my list, too.
If
windshields could talk.
How long has it had a hole in it? Since we left?
It was...
Over...
It was 3 events ago when you did that. Yeah.
Has a hole?
Yeah, there's a story.
I was leaving Rednecks, okay? So I don't know if you've left Rednecks like right when everyone leaves. There's a big line going into St. Joe.
Okay, makes sense.
Okay, well there was a road to the right, and I was obviously too tall.
Like 16 and a half foot off the ground, too tall.
Yeah.
So we're watching for power lines. So the power lines are like barely, like within inches of the. God. Yeah. So here comes a tree. I'm like, well, shoot, it'll just go right on over. No, it went right in through the top left corner of the windshield.
Like a branch just punched a hole through it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it definitely did.
What do you think of the plexiglass? People doing that and like cutting a hole. You don't like it?
No.
It scratches.
Go look at my side by side.
Yeah, I ripped that window out. He put it back in.
It got cold.
It's annoying.
You can't see out of it.
Right. It just scratches so bad.
And then, people cut holes in it, which is good when you're racing. Because you put a hole here, you can still see where you're going because your windshield always gets covered because you can't wipe it. It'll scratch.
Right.
But the bad thing about when you put holes in it, where does that mud go through the holes? It goes all over you. And I'm kind of bougie. I don't like getting muddy all the time, okay?
Wow, that's hard to believe. That's news. Wow. All right, my second segue. So Get Twisted is the nickname of your Suburban.
Yeah.
Does Get Twisted have like a team? How does that work? How does Eli come in? Are those just like buddies?
Just buddies.
Because it's like a team mentality when we're at like an event like Rednecks.
Well, so if we're at an event or something and Eli's with me, if something needs to be like underneath, or he's always watching for something if something breaks. That's Eli's biggest thing. And he's there to, like, hey, it popped out of gear on the tow pad and the transfer case popped out of gear. He's there to, like, fix it real quick. Or if it's something simple, just fix it real quick. Or it's just different things. I mean, watching for a fire.
That's last time you were on the tug pad. He's like, I'm here just watching for a fire, man. Like, what are you gonna do if there's a fire? Like, what are you talking about?
So I had my inner fenders. I made them out of like an old banner, like a sign banner.
Okay.
So if something were to catch on fire, you can just rip it out.
Oh.
So it's easier to rip that out and shoot a fire extinguisher on it than trying to get on the front bumper and open the hood.
I got you.
That is very difficult if you're a bigger fella.
Yeah.
So
yeah, makes sense. Yeah, he was very, very willing and like responsible for. Like he knew his job and he was ready for it. Like anything that breaks, I'm hitting it.
It's all good until Eli gets to drinking his Monster alcoholic drink.
Oh my God, yeah.
Dude, them things are good.
It was at Rednecks in March when it rained, where I got stuck out in one of the pits and burned all the spark plug wires off of that LS.
Whoa.
So he was supposed to go back to camp and get spark plug wires. I said, do not get in my camper because you are filthy. Open the back door and reach in there. Yeah, there was mud all over the floor.
Oh, no.
And he gets back, and I said, hey, go back there and hook this strap up to this other strap. He lost the pin to my clevis. Yeah.
So it's useless.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't do nothing with it then.
Yeah.
I mean, find a rod or something maybe to hold it. But he lost the pin to my clevis, and then get pulled out, and I'm wrapping the strap up. And I'm looking around and I can't find him. So I said, my girlfriend was in the passenger seat. I said, hey, where's Eli? Oh, he's in the back seat. I said, what? His filthy butt's in my back seat? You got to think he's covered head to toe in mud. And I had the seats in my Suburban were actually really nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's not allowed in there after he's muddy.
Yeah, it seems like buddies are.
He's a good friend to have around if you have a problem.
Yeah,
I mean he'll help you out.
It's like an unofficial team, is what I saw. Because you had like a number of guys like at least watching out for any problems or anything that might.
Well, that's how
happen.
we all are. I mean, like if Clayton's running something, I'm always watching. Or if he's running a river or something, I'm always watching for something because it don't take but one thing to, say a pinion bearing to go out and lock the whole front end up, it'll fold the whole axle up underneath the truck.
Oh my God.
That white truck that was down there at Rednecks, remember?
Yeah.
It did that.
Yeah. Those are also two really awesome rigs, Clayton's Tahoe and Will.
Yep.
Will, dude, the fab work on that freaking truck is crazy.
I don't know if have you seen that it was a military deuce
Yes.
on 5-ton deuce on 23 ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's his?
He
built
he
that.
did a great job on that truck.
It looks like it was built by a company at a shop.
He doesn't bog it, though, does he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Guess I just don't remember it in the mud. I remember it doing laps.
Well, if he's not driving, then I'm driving.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's how it is. Like he'll drive around, and then but he's one of the people. He likes to build it, but he would rather someone else kind of drive it sometimes, because he likes to see what he built. That's how he is.
Appreciate his own work.
Mm-hmm. But he's a good guy.
So you mentioned having like wires back at camp. What is like the prep for you that's in a big ass rig? What does the prep look like for heading to Rednecks? Like, do you just get all the spare parts that you think that you might need?
I don't know if you ever seen the back of my truck when we go to Rednecks. It is very full.
And it's just all in anticipation of what you might.
You got to have tools that you think you will never use. Like, why would I have that? Like, why do I need that?
Like a pipe cutter.
Like a pipe cutter. You never know when you got a brake line that breaks. And if it's with me, you'll rip the whole brake caliper and everything off the front of everything.
Yeah. He does a good job when he breaks stuff.
But he does a good job because he's like prepared, and you got to prep for that, and that comes with obviously experience. But like, do you just think of any possible scenario and then just try to cover that scenario?
Now, like last September, what I messed up, I messed up because I didn't bring another power steering hose, and that's something I always bring with me, but I forgot. Yep, I got them at home, ready to go. And I forgot it. And I have totes that have parts in them. And so does Clayton. Clayton's got totes and totes of stuff that he takes tools and parts and windshield wipers.
Something as simple as windshield wipers.
Because his stuff, man, when you got a bogger like that or a tire that sits so far out of the fender, it just slings everywhere. So he's always pretty much prepared, like I am. So,
you gotta be, because it's almost like a not if but when.
So like Will's truck, it's so everything's so good on it. He brings some things, but he brings more tools than anything. Like just more, he brings tools. He's always prepared with tools wise, but he don't have to bring a lot of parts. Does that make sense? Because nothing really breaks, because it's still a new build. Like we have tried to find the weak links of it. He broke an axle one time, the very first trip out, and that was his fault. But he was in a mud pit and clutch dumped her in fourth.
Oh no!
And it slingshot. I've never seen an axle shaft slingshot out the side. Yep.
Oh my God!
But you always got to be prepared for stuff that you would never think would break.
Yeah.
Like a transmission. So. And I was not prepared. So.
Because I feel like there's somebody there has an answer for what you have. Somebody's going to pull up next to you. We've been broke down before. Somebody pulls up. What's going on? We tell them the issue, and they're like, I'll be right back. Like somebody's prepared. Somebody's got it. But between the community, somebody's got what you need.
Yeah, that's why it's always good to know a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I said earlier, like going up and just introducing yourself. They might kind of nudge you off, like they don't care. But hey, don't do you think you might have a part like this part? Like, yeah, I might have that.
Right.
Might
have to buy it off of them. But
sometimes it ain't gonna be cheap. Trust me.
Yeah. That's something I've slowly
Some
learned
wheel
is to
bearings.
bring, spare parts. Yeah, wheel bearings. There's a truck. I don't know if he runs around anymore, but there's a truck used to run
I
around
haven't
with
seen him.
center chunks and wheel bearings and just spare parts for those axles.
Trust me, I'll look for
Oh,
him.
the parts truck you talked
Yeah,
about.
and I bought. I got a wheel bearing from Preston, the one that's got that deuce and a half.
Yeah, who's that soggy?
Yeah. I got a wheel bearing from him. Cost me a quesadilla. I had to give him a quesadilla from the. I was like, hey, that's cheap. But then I bought the other wheel bearing from that truck, and that was $100.
How many quesadillas was that?
That was a lot of quesadillas. That was $100. But even then, like, it was still worth it because I broke Thursday. Same kind of scenario as your transmission. So like it saved the weekend, and I think it was my first trip out there. So like my whole weekend would have been shot. So yeah, it cost a little bit of money, but it saved my weekend. But the amount of people that were willing to come up and help get it back together, because I mean you're just sitting in the middle of a mud pit, tire ripped off, sitting on 3 tires, going, "What do I do?"
You got your thumb out like anybody.
And anyway, so long story short, I got a 5-gallon bucket that's got a couple gallons of gear oil in it. It's got old races. It's got a whole bunch of wheel bearings. It's got old races. It's got a bunch of seals sitting in it. It's got a bunch of spare parts for those axles. I keep burning up. I got an electric fan on the radiator. I keep burning them up. They're not supposed to be submerged in water. So I keep a spare electric fan.
You're supposed to turn them off when you go underwater.
Anyway, I got a spare electric fan that I bring and just a handful of parts, but I don't bring near what them guys do.
Right.
And it's really crazy how into it you guys are, because you guys, I thought Kendall was the same age as me, if not older, and he's not. He's not by any means. So,
Older.
yeah.
What's something about like the world of big trucks that the common man wouldn't know? Or like bogging, anything in that world that, I mean, you've been in it so long, it might be hard to come up with something, but like 90.
If someone's never been into it, and they come out there and see it for the first time, most of the time they're gonna be like, "Man, I need one."
The itch is real.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Like when I got my international, I was like, "Man, this thing's cool." Like, it's. And then when you go out there and jump it one time, you're like, "Oh man, it's really cool."
Oh my God.
So
That's actually a really good answer, because I think most people are like, I don't want to be covered in mud. I don't want this and that. And then you hear how loud some of those motors are, and you just see one crawling by, and it's just like, I want one.
Dude, I need one. I had that mentality so bad up until you let me drive it. And let me tell you.
I don't want one.
Let me tell you, you can't see nothing. That thing is a handful. It's a chore to drive. I mean, it's just so big, and the more people that are around you, the more nerve-wracking it is. I want one, but after that, I don't want one that big. It takes a lot. Plus, it takes a lot to keep them going. Time and money.
And we've gotten squirrely in the buggy before, but you have like a really nice 360 view. Your whole back is out and everything.
Yeah.
You're up that tall in something, I guess, truck or Suburban, where you're kind of wrapped.
As long as you're on a straightaway, like, you can see in front of you. But if you're up close, like tight with people, don't even worry about looking out the windshield.
Well,
You're better off just standing on the step.
And which you do actually often now. That makes a lot of sense. Because like during the parade and stuff,
or have someone sit on top
and
where they can
literally
see.
direct you. Because like you do like parade, and other big trucks do parade. I just can't even.
That gets tiring too.
Bro, I can't imagine.
That's why I got out. I let JJ drive. I got out. I had to go walk around. I was getting tired. It was only 9 o'clock.
Why, just sitting there and waiting
I was just
to
getting
go?
Tired. Just over here like falling asleep.
Like the amount of destruction that could happen is like literally devastating. Like you have to be so careful, and mix that with the alcohol involved. It's like, man, you have to be very careful, because the implications could be devastating.
Because all it takes is for one person on a four-wheeler just pull out in front of you.
Yeah.
and you can't stop.
Yeah,
You can't, don't get me wrong. Like, you can hit my brakes and you'll eat the steering wheel. Like, they work great, but you don't stop that fast because you can't see them.
That'd be the thing, is you wouldn't even see them.
That's why I'm a big believer in front and rear cameras. I don't have them, but I haven't needed them because I always have someone with me. But if you don't, like the newer trucks, they have the front cameras and the rear cameras. Or once you get to like a F2 or F350 that's on 5 tons and 35.5s, I mean, you can't see, but they got a frontwards camera and they got 360 camera. So that's where that really comes in.
I mean, at that point, you're almost watching the cameras more than you are outside.
Yeah.
It's just better visuals. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, but I would really hate if someone ran out in front of me. It'd suck.
For sure. Even if it's their fault, even if you're the one being responsible. Like, don't even want to think about it. But it is crazy, and it's crazy that, to be totally honest, that doesn't happen more often. Like, I don't know. Usually,
a lot of people are, they're just careful. So
I think just ultra careful, yeah. And I'm not saying it's like because it's 18 and up, but there's something about, like, I think most people, and this is kind of strictly just rednecks, like, they understand it's an adult party. So, like, don't be an asshole, like, be smart, make good choices, have fun, but
and when we're parading around, don't try to back down the wrong way of the line.
Goes this way after night. After sundown, we only go this way.
It's that simple. But I think a lot of them big trucks too, when they're maneuvering, a lot of times you see somebody spotting them, standing on the ground, guiding them around. It's like operating a piece of equipment.
It's really funny. You'll see, like, Tiffany's truck, you'll see it in front of mine, Suburban sometimes.
Yeah.
We'll be lined up, like, side by side, and then you got Barney over here running down the hole, just, come on, a little more.
Dude, that square body is sweet.
It's really cool.
I like that thing.
I drove it one time, and it's pretty sweet.
Was that one still had a manual in it? Because it's got an auto now,
I drove
don't
it
it?
with automatic with the rear steer and stuff.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
I didn't know it had rear steer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's sweet.
That's another thing. If you're going to build a truck, rear steer. I'm about to have rear steer.
Dude, I wish the buggy
rear
had
steer?
Yeah.
I wish the buggy had rear steer. That thing, when I trail ride, dude, you can't turn for nothing. Back, forth,
Right.
forth,
Maybe dumb question. Is it just like one steering wheel and it does it?
No, there's a switch.
There's a switch?
There's a switch next to you.
So you like
a toggle
turn
switch.
left, turn right.
It's like a toggle switch.
It's like a toggle switch.
So you kind of hold it to get your whatever angle you want.
You can bump it or you can hold it, and then you can hit a button on the side. Some of them have this self-centering.
Yeah, I was going to say, you'd want it lined up at some point.
Yeah, I'm just going to set mine up where I can just look at it, where it's just, instead of having that self-center stuff.
Monster truck stuff. That's what monster trucks got. They got a toggle switch for the rear steer.
That's wild. That's a lot of like balancing. You're shifting. You're turning one wheel. You're turning a knob for the back wheels.
So I think most of the like monster trucks like that, they have a air shift type deal where it shifts to second, like from first to second, because I think they have a 2-speed power glide in them.
Yeah, they got 2-speed. When I went and helped with, I can't remember what the heck the name of that truck is. Bad Decision. When I helped set that up for the Miami show, I got to look at a lot of that stuff, and he's got the little rod in there for the self-centering and whatnot, but he's got it's like a grip like this that's just it's fixed. It's like welded in place, but it's just got a switch on the top of it, and when he lets go, that thing self-centers. And it's just a electric over hydraulic pump. So when you flip that switch, it just sends a pulse to that pump, and then it puts fluid to either side to turn the rear. But besides that, the steering wheel runs the front. But yeah, it's a 2-speed power glide they got on those.
And so when he lets go, it's just automatic.
It automatically goes back straight, and they move fast.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When you flip that switch, it just, and as big as the tires are, you wouldn't think it would, but it's just hydraulic pressure is a crazy thing.
Yeah.
For sure. And then I'm going to go to hydraulic steps now, too. So I'll have hydraulic rear steer and then hydraulic steps.
Very nice. You're on a pulley system now?
Yeah, I got a winch.
An electric winch.
Which works really good.
Yeah?
It makes a big difference. I don't like climbing up muddy tires. I can tell you that right now.
Oh, man. Well, yeah. When it's sloppy and...
Yeah, no, I'm out.
Yeah, for sure.
Find me a ladder.
To do that every single time? Hell no. Well, this has been a great conversation. What's like a future goal that you have? Whether it's a life goal, whether that's a 2025 goal, what's something you're like going for in the future?
Yeah, I just would like to just keep building trucks, different things, build them, sell them, build them and sell them. Just different things like that. I mean,
so, like, is that a flip endeavor, or is that like explore what you can do and then make some money off of it?
See what we can build, see what we can do,
and get some money out of it.
Like the Duramax and the Suburban, like.
That's yours though. That's like a passion project.
Oh no, it might be coming up for sale.
Oh, you hear that?
He ain't gonna sell that.
You hear that?
He ain't gonna sell that truck. I guarantee it. When he gets mad at it, he'll say, "I'm gonna sell it," but he ain't gonna sell it.
Never know.
Okay, so
money talks.
True that.
Everything has a price. I guess that's right.
What's your dream build?
Well,
if money wasn't an issue, time wasn't an issue.
It'd probably be like a newer model 6.7 Power Stroke.
Okay. Built motor and everything, I'm sure.
Probably be a 6-door.
6-door?
Yeah.
And then similar size tires to what you're on now?
Probably like a 35.5. It'd be big. Or build another Peterbilt. That'd be kind of cool.
I say Peterbilt would be sick, and then you give that phase.
Yeah, I mean it's just big and heavy. I don't know.
But for a tow pad, well, come on now.
Yeah, it's true. It's heavy.
I do.
It is heavy.
I do want to build a platform buggy.
Okay.
Big old platform buggy.
He does too.
I do too.
I want to build a school bus. I want to take like a Chevy Express 3500 school bus.
So the one you used to ride?
No, listen. They picked me up in a Suburban, okay? It was a poor school. We had a Suburban. And I want to put on them 18.4s. Big enough that you can go through some mud, but not huge. I just want something that I can put a bunch of speakers in, have a bunch of people in. But, I want to be out of the weather. I think it's because I got a rig that's in the weather, so I want to be out of the weather.
That's a good point.
But I just want something I can have a bunch of people in. So kind of the same goal as the platform buggy, but different execution.
When you say platform, are you talking like pontoon?
Well, it would be kind of cool to make it float.
Well, there's one in particular.
No, there is one that was out there that it used to have pontoons on it and stuff, and it was really cool. But I just want a big platform.
I like that you can like walk around.
Oh yeah,
you can like move chairs.
That's what I'm saying. I want something like that. We can just have a party.
Right.
Like we can go anywhere. Like we run the river a lot. Like a platform buggy on the river would be so fun. Building a long school bus would be cool.
Yeah. There's like a party bus there.
There's one at Rednecks.
Yeah.
And it looks really good.
It looks pretty sick. Yeah, we need to talk to that guy.
There's another one supposed to be there this year, ain't it?
Yeah, Nick Tilson's got one that's gonna be. It's pretty cool.
Is it open or is it like closed?
Yes, it's open.
Okay.
So it's cut from the front. It's got the lights, I think, in the front, and then from there back, it's open. And it's got tower speakers in it.
Oh,
and it is really cool.
I guess it's sitting on hydraulics too.
It's sitting on. I think it's got the AxleTech IFS independent suspension axles under it.
Okay.
And it's got hydraulic cylinders on it.
So it can go up and down?
Yeah. It's cool.
Have it 3-wheeling like them lowriders do on a school bus.
That'd be pretty wicked.
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
TikTok. I got a Get Twisted page.
Okay.
And then YouTube. I'm starting a YouTube. It's Kendall Johnson 6.6. So.
Is that live right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
That will be in the description.
Yeah, you posted a short.
It's got a short. There's a short on there.
Okay.
So
getting that going.
Is there going to be any of this Duramax build going to be on it?
Yeah, I'm going to try to. So just trying to get some help with some camera
Yeah.
But that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I think so for sure. And audio, which you got those mics that work really well.
Yeah.
Just those
I got some
pocket mics.
I told him just from the experience I've had, man, like start with your iPhone. It's so simple. He's got such a build in front of him. The thought of him trying to go out of his way, try to set up cameras right now, like your phone's always in your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's
it's a quick, cheap, easy way to start. And I know a lot of people want to see this. I want to see this build myself. So
it's going to be something different. So
yeah, $20 or something for a decent tripod. You're set.
Yeah, I've been looking at a couple little gimbals or whatever they are. So
that'll hold his phone.
I think just start, however you can do it. Like, you don't need to dump in $5,000. Like, just start with what you got, put it on a software, get you an editor, or figure that out. However you want to do that, and use what you got.
Well, and like
learn along the way.
The kind of stuff he's doing, I don't think it has to be highly edited because people that are following builds, I know I follow a lot of different channels that build stuff. We want the details. We don't want.
Right.
We're not out here trying to get Mr. Beast style content. We don't want flashy or bunch of cuts or this or that. Show me what the heck you're doing. What are you building?
Right.
Give me the freaking details. That's what I want. I want to know what you're doing and how you're doing it, and I want to see how this big thing ticks.
And I like a lot of the whys. Like, I'm doing this because.
Yeah.
Like, why are you putting that in there? Well, this is going to help this.
Or I like the guys. I like the guys where they're like, yes, this would be a better option, but I'm on a freaking budget. So that's why I'm doing this or whatever. So yeah, just
and anyone gonna build a Duramax, that is not a budget build. I'm just gonna tell you right now, it is very expensive.
So you sent your heads off to get worked on. When are you supposed to get them back?
Hopefully next week.
Next week?
We'll see. Next week or the week after, somewhere in there. And then I just got to order some gaskets, ARP head studs, and some nitrous stuff.
Yeah, you got 2 bottles of nitrous.
You're running nitrous?
Yeah, they cool the EGTs down on the motor.
Oh, my God. God, this Rednex is going to be awesome.
Are you going to be there?
I hope so. Yeah. I always plan on it. Last spring, it was a bachelor trip of, like, my best freaking friend. So I was just like, I had the chance. I should have done the research. He's like, how does this work? I said, yeah, whatever. It's fine. Send it. Plans it all out. Come to find out, same weekend as Rednex. Like, no way. So I had to make a judgment call, and anyway.
You made the right choice. There's always another Rednex.
You would have been muddy and walking around in the mud, and you wouldn't have liked it. You make sure you bring your rain boots if you're coming in March.
Yeah,
sure.
March is a different beast than the fall, for sure.
I think there's more people in March. Do you agree?
No, I think there's more people in the fall.
You think?
I think there's more people in the fall. Yeah.
I didn't know Texas.
I don't know. I didn't get a head count, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's what I do.
I didn't know Texas got cold. Like, the first March I went was
oh my gosh,
unreal.
We went one time, and I had a blue square body, and it was cold, like 30 degrees cold, and it was very horrible.
Do you have doors and windows?
Yeah.
So this freaking guy leads me out there with.
That's when it rained on y'all.
Oh, it was sideways rain, 40 degrees.
Don't even with me, Mister. Embrace the suck.
Oh, it was bad. That was
That's when
advice.
y'all drove off in that massive hole and
Yeah.
filled the transmission full of water.
Yeah. Well, we're just sitting here, and I'm like, everybody's driving all over the pit, and it was day one.
It was day one.
There was very little water in the pit, and people, in bone stock side by sides were going everywhere. I'm like, heck, let's drop it in, and we're on, what would that be? That would be the east side of the pit. And I didn't know at the time, but there was a hole right there. And I just put her in drive, took off, and we just went bloop right into that hole and got stuck. So that's why nobody was driving in front of us.
Yeah.
That's that same hole that I kept driving through in September.
Yeah, you were hot lapping that thing.
Oh my gosh. They said the headers were glowing from the heads all the way to the end.
Oh, I'm sure they were.
Oh my God.
Dude, he put some. I bet you put more miles on that Suburban than you had the last 3 events.
When you get off in that, every time we get off in that hole, it'd start floating.
That drop case made a world of difference for you,
dude. And the chain reaction, he does really good on the boxes.
Is that local to you, or is he national?
No, he is.
He's up somewhere east, ain't he?
New Jersey.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he did a great job on them. I mean,
it looks great. Is that gonna work with your new build?
Yes. The only thing is, it's gonna be too low.
It's very
too low geared. So we should be able to be in third gear and spinning the tires.
And that's a good thing?
I mean, yes and no.
Yes and no.
Depends where we're at, I guess.
Yeah.
But like top speed, maybe 15.
You just can't rev a diesel motor as high as a gas engine.
That's the biggest.
Plenty of torque though. You will have all the torque.
Are you gonna?
We're gonna find the next weak link for sure.
And then that will be upgraded, fixed.
I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be something inside the transmission.
I don't know. It might be that center chunk.
Or an axle. Could be front axle probably.
Just depends on how you drive it. I know you baby that thing.
Yeah. For the first 10 minutes we're there.
That's not what I've seen.
I think I did that a couple of times with a buggy too. Well, it's day one. We're gonna go easy.
A couple times.
5 minutes later.
Every time. I'm just gonna run it till it breaks. Okay. And
I'm ready to call you out on tug pad,
dude. I'm not promising nothing, but if that thing makes it to Rednecks in the spring, I'll hook up to you at the tug pad. But we got to do.
Why?
We got to do what we said we were going to do.
Let you pull me?
Yeah. I told him he's got to let me pull him the first time. And then the second time, he's got to sit there for a while I put on a smoke show. And then the third time, he can drag me.
It's best 2 out of 3, isn't it?
Yeah. He's still going to win. I just want to burn the tires off.
How much do you think your buggy weighs?
About 6,000 pounds. 62,
so you need
63.
You need to hook up with Elena's truck.
No, I need to hook up with, like, Clayton.
He'd
probably still drag me.
That Tahoe's pretty heavy.
He'd probably still drag me. That's what I'm saying. Weight-wise, we're probably about equal.
It's pretty heavy, but he's still got an open front end.
Well, I got an open front end, too.
Well, yeah, but it gets to bouncing, and then he loses all traction.
Yeah.
Because he don't know how to let out of the throttle.
He's on leaf springs front and rear, too.
No, he's on coilovers in the front. Leaf spring rear. Yeah.
Yeah.
When we originally built it was on coil spring front.
If not, if the buggy doesn't make it, you're going to have to take your truck to Rednecks this year because I'm going to need you to drag my truck home. Like, we'll put yours on the trailer going down, and then you'll probably have to drag me back because I'm putting my 3/4 ton on a tug pad.
I can't remember. Were you hesitant on going last fall?
I wasn't hesitant on going. I was trying to work some money things out, I guess is the best way to say it.
I was fully prepared to drive my truck. If that's what it took, I was not missing it.
Yeah.
Because I'd missed in the spring and I hated it. Yeah. I was fully prepared. So if that's what it takes, dude, we're taking mine.
So what we're going to do, we're going to put yours truck on my trailer, and I'm going to tow it down there.
Okay.
And ideally, if I don't tear my stuff up, we'll put your truck on my trailer and tow it back home. But I'm putting my truck on the tug pad.
Can we put a hot tub in the back of your truck?
I want to so bad. I want to put a tarp back there and fill that thing up full of water so bad.
Dude, the fall, that'd be so killer.
Dude, that's what I want to do. But if we could figure out how to heat it up, we could do that in the spring.
Oh, dude.
We could do that in spring.
You'd be a celebrity.
I mean, honestly, who wants a big rig? I'll just show up with a 3/4 ton. I'll put a big sticker on the back window that says "Big Girls Welcome." You know, it's a 3/4 ton. You know.
Oh my gosh,
dude, that would be so killer.
They just fill it up full of water. I honestly, maybe that sounds way better than Rednecks or Rednecks. Way better than taking the buggy to Rednecks. That sounds like a way better time.
Dude, if you have a hot tub,
3/4 tons going. We're filling it full of water, and I'm gonna bring a tote too. I'm gonna bring one of them 250-gallon totes, and when I put it on a tug pad, I'm gonna have that in the back of it. I am 100% breaking a tie rod. I guarantee it. I'm just gonna stay in the gas till I either win or break a tie rod.
I don't think you'll get on the tug pad.
Here he goes.
Here he goes.
All right, I'm on the tug pad.
All right, man. You got anything else? Any other thoughts?
Not really. I mean, trying to finish up another truck.
Right.
Trying to finish up that white truck. So
is that Leno's truck?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you both are gonna be rolling around in some Big Daddies.
Mm-hmm. That's gonna be that's a unique truck. It's got some unique axles under it for sure.
Yeah.
Something I've known. I mean, from these axles, I ain't ever seen another pair of them. So
is she a gearhead too?
Yeah, she loves it. She's not. She does not like the rocks. That's one thing she does not like.
Just like the off balance.
Oh yeah, no, she's out.
Yeah, but she likes mud and.
But it's funny because I'll just make her ride with me anyways. So.
I'm driving. You're fine.
And she like hangs out with you when you're wrenching and stuff. He was putting the fuel pump in, and she was sitting there right there, while he was working.
Like if I need like a tool or something, if I'm underneath something, she'll get it for me.
She knows what you're talking about. Yeah, that's huge. So that's big.
That's what I like about it. I'll teach her what I can. When she's out in the shop. But.
Yeah, it's good that she likes it too.
Oh yeah.
You're not pulling teeth or something. Like, can you please
help
me?
Come out here. Yeah. Come on, come hang out with me.
Right. But now that she's into it too, that's awesome. All right, you got anything?
No. We're gonna go tear his Defender up
tonight.
I think so. It's got lights on it. I think we could have it broken before we go to bed. What do you think?
I think we need to get food before we go.
We do need to get food, or I'm gonna get in trouble. We better go pick them up and feed them.
Get some food and mount some cameras up on the Defender if you're going hog wild.
Yeah, we definitely need to roll. I think we're gonna take it easy.
Well, for sure, gonna be jamming out.
He's got a big radio. That was on my last video. That sound competition was pretty cool.
That's gonna be the first and only trophy I will ever win in a stereo competition.
I jumped in one of them rigs. It hit 140 decibels. That is the loudest thing I've ever been in.
Was your beard going wild?
Dude, so I'm holding the camera, right? So I can't plug my ears. Every time that thing hit, like, you couldn't breathe.
You set in errands, didn't you?
Yeah, every time that thing hit, like, you couldn't breathe at all. You could feel it. But
we'll just put it this way. We drove around Friday night, and me and Elena rode with Aaron, and these guys, Empire guys, they're great guys. Garrett and Aaron, all them guys are awesome. But we drove around. When you have to drive around and ride around with earplugs, and you can still hear everything crystal clear, it's loud.
I got Autumn and Olivia got in there, had them plug their ears, and it's just blowing their hair all over the place.
The video is great.
Crazy. I love that
because they're like prepared for it. And all of a sudden, just where their hair goes wild and
I loved it, dude.
That's insane.
I've never, like I said, I know there's plenty of rigs out there that I've never been in anything that loud. It was crazy.
And it was in a side by side.
It was the whole bed of it was full of speakers, and he had it all boxed in and ported into the cab.
Oh
yeah, it was crazy. Them boys build some crazy rigs.
Yeah, big. If anyone needs anything side by side done, Empire Motorsports out of Texas, look them up. They build some killer stuff.
Oh yeah.
So,
link in description. Go follow Kendall Johnson on the socials. One more time, what were they? YouTube and TikTok, you said?
TikTok is Get Twisted.
Okay.
And then YouTube's Kendall Johnson 6.6.
Check in the description. Go follow Slow Motion's Garage with Dakota Eiland, a.k.a. Slow Motion, on YouTube. Look for some edits coming your way because hopefully there's some footage being produced.
We got some killer builds, so we're gonna be knocking them out pretty quick.
Builds, wild events, slow Fridays. There's all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah, we're getting ready to have a big bonfire, big birthday party. Probably won't be on YouTube, but the rest of it will. That we can't put on YouTube.
By the time this comes out, it will be in the past, so that's fine. All right, Kendall, thanks for making the trip, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Dakota, thanks for coming back. You're welcome anytime.
Yeah, I was just here because I was about as curious about Kendall as you are.
You were my Uber.
I was his
chauffeur.
ride. Well, he burned all his diesel coming here, so he doesn't have any more money for fuel. So we hopped in my rig, come here, which is great because that thing hasn't moved in like 2 weeks.
Needed some miles.
Yeah, poor girl. Battery's almost dead on.
We're gonna be flying home because we can't afford to get home.
Yeah.
Just on fumes.
That's fine. I told him to save on gas, leave diesel, leave the Defender at my house. You know, there's no sense in dragging all the way home. Plus, like, he has to store it outside because it's so big. It fits in the barn. I'll keep it out of the weather for you. I'll make sure it stays running. You know, I'll put some miles on it for you. You know,
you got cameras out there. It'll be fine.
I'm glad you're going to do that. It needs new bushings.
He's so generous.
Some ball
it
joints.
definitely needs bushings, dude. When you went to pull it, I was like, something doesn't. When you went to pull forward, I was like, something doesn't look right. Put it in reverse. He backed up that thing. Yeah, your bushings are shot. That poor thing's been through some stuff.
Oh man.
All right. Thanks, fellas. Thanks for listening. See you next time. That's it, boys. Good job.